Chapter 3 Once More on Land. At break of day, we were all astir, for hope, like care, is not a friend to sleep. After kneeling together in prayer, I said to my children, I hope now with God's help we shall soon be out of this danger. But first let us provide food and water enough for the poor animals to last them several days. We may perhaps be able to return for them. And then, my boys, gather together everything you can find that may be to use to us. My plan was to take with us a keg of powder, 3 fowling pieces, muskets, pistols, and a stock of bullets, with a bullet mold and lead to prepare more when these were gone. To my wife and each of the children I gave a game bag filled with provisions. I loaded 2 of the tubs with an iron pot for cooking, a fishing line and rod, a chest of carpenter's tools, and enough canvas to make us a tent. When all was ready for us to embark, I placed each of the boys in a tub and prepared with my wife to follow them into the boat. All at once, the cocks began to crow, as though to reproach us for deserting them. I think we might manage to take them with us, I said, for if we cannot feed them, they will feed us. A couple of cocks and 10 hens were accordingly placed in the tubs and covered over with pieces of wood to keep them from jumping out. As there was not room for all the poultry, I set the ducks, geese, and pigeons free, hoping that they would reach the land either through the air or by water. At length, all being ready, I cut the cable. In the first tub was my wife and little Frank. The 3 next contained the ammunition, the sailcloth, the tools, the provisions, and the chickens. Fritz, Ernest, and Jack occupied the 5th, 6th, and 7th, and I took the last one for myself, hoping that I might be able to guide the vessel by a stern oar, which served as a rudder to safe landing. The tide was flowing as we quitted the wreck and helped us carry us towards the land. As we glided into the open sea, the 2 dogs, Dirk and Juno, which we had left on the wreck, whined piteously, and then they sprang into the water and they swam after us. Both were of large size, so we dared not take them on board, and I feared they would not be able to swim for such a distance. But by now, and then resting their forepaws on the poles which formed the outriggers, they managed to follow us without much trouble. Our passage through though tedious, was safe, for the sea was calm, and we found ourselves gradually approaching the shore. The water was strewed with chests, casks, and bales of goods, the debris of the ill-fated ship, and Fritz and I managed to lay hold of 2 hogsheads with our oars and fasten them with ropes to the raft. And if you remember from the video today, a hogshead is a smaller cask. As they drew near the coast, the land, which presented at the distance a very uninviting aspect, lost much of its wild and sterile appearance, and Fritz declared that he could distinguish various trees, and was certain some of them were palms and coconuts. I was now beginning to regret that I had forgotten to bring the telescope from the captain's cabin, when Jack drew from his pocket a small one, and offered it to me with delight. By its aid, I presently observed a narrow bay, in the direction of which our ducks and geese were rapidly swimming in advance of us, as if to lead the way. We plied our oars bravely, and a strong current assisted in carrying us towards the rocky shore. But I succeeded in guiding our boat towards the entrance of the creek, and I found the water just deep enough to float in. After some little trouble, we arrived at last at a low, shady bank, on which it was easy for us to land. Everyone leapt out joyfully from the boat. The dogs, which had already reached the land, bounded with joy, leaping and barking around us in the wildest manner. The geese and the ducks quacked to welcome us, and the cries of flamingos who flew away as we appeared, mingling with the screams of penguins perched on the rocks, formed a really strange concert. Kneeling down on the shore, our first act was to thank God for our merciful escape and to commend ourselves to his protection for the time to come. All briskly commenced unloading the boat, and I set about choosing a suitable spot on which to erect a tent as a shelter for the night. This we did by taking one of the poles which had served to balance the boat and fixed firmly fixing it upright as a hole in the ground. One end of another pole was then tied crossways near the top of the first one, whilst its opposite end was fixed in the hole in the rock. Over this framework we stretched our sailcloth, fastening to the ground with a number of pegs, whilst for greater security our chests and other heavy articles were placed around the edge of the cloth to keep out the wind. Fritz attached hooks to the edges in front, that we might draw them together during the night. This being done, I sent the children to gather moss and grass to spread in the tent for our beds. Thank you. Hope you enjoy.